Okay, there's a lot of controversy behind this show, but I'm willing to give it a try. Maybe. Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole giving you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. And this is my review on The Idol, Season 1, Episode 1. Okay, if you guys look up The Idol, which is on HBO Max, there's been a lot of controversy behind this show. I guess a lot of people quit based off of the new direction of the show. Um, I know that the creators are, I guess, the creators of Euphoria. Euphoria is not really a show that I like. I know it's a popular show, but I couldn't get past the first episode of Euphoria. However, with this episode, I was able to watch the entire thing. So that's why I said maybe it will keep my interest as far as me trying to see what this show is all about. But just letting you know now, there's a lot of drama behind this show. Definitely look it up and you will see for yourself. But we start off the episode with the main character, and her name is Jocelyn. Okay, Jocelyn is the A-list celebrity, the A-list musician, the A-list artist, singer, whatever the case may be. And she's at a photo shoot where she is giving every emotion they tell her to give. They say, give me funny, give me sexy, give me vulnerable, give me emotional. And she is hitting every single emotion they're asking her to give. She even cues in on crying and giving tears as soon as they say, give me emotional. Okay. So everything they're telling her to do, she's doing. But as soon as the camera stops flashing, we see a chain smoking girl who, you know what I'm saying, clearly the image that she is selling is not who she really is, okay? So that's the first scene that we see, and then all of a sudden the actual name of the show comes up, The Idol, okay? So that's my first instinct, is that she's selling an image, but that's not really her. That's the first thing we see as far as Jocelyn. Then the next thing we see is her best friend and assistant who wakes her up. And interesting enough, her friend, BFF, and her assistant looks the total opposite of her. Jocelyn gives glamour. She gives, you know what I'm saying, like the tight fit body. She gives the blonde hair. She gives all of the glamour that this industry, I guess, assumes is considered sexy and top notch. Her friend, however, is total opposite. She's just your average girl, just total different personality, which in my opinion, her BFF represents who Jocelyn really is and where Jocelyn comes from. But you know, at the end of the day, she is probably like the only person close to her that truly knows Jocelyn as Joss and truly knows her for who she really, really is. So we see that Jocelyn wakes up. She wakes up alone in this big, beautiful bed. And you can tell that that isolation, that's kind of what she feels. She has her BFF, but she still is alone. So that's what we see in the second scene, okay? So at this point, we already see that this girl is troubled, clearly. Um, and with that, though, she's surrounded when she goes downstairs and it's about her doing her photo shoot and everything. She's surrounded by people who pretty much see her as a money machine. She is an image, she is a product, and that's just what she is. And while some people are trying to have some type of morals and, you know, values and trying to see her as a human being, you know what I mean? They pretty much say F that. They even go as far to say that mental illness and a breakdown is sexy. So, that's just an example. What they're giving is an example of the industry and how they try to turn everything negative or any type of situation or human reaction into a profit. You know what I mean? So, any situation that is not considered a perfect situation, they're going to try to profit off of it. And even in Joss or Jocelyn's mental state, they are trying to find a way to profit off of that. So, with that, the funny thing about it is that when we first see Jocelyn and she's in her photo shoot, she instantly gave me Sharon Tate vibes. Now, for those who don't know who Sharon Tate is, please look her up. But she looks like her. And what's so crazy is I'm watching this episode and someone mentioned Sharon Tate, okay? They actually mentioned her. And I was like, that's weird. So I don't know if that was the vibe they were going for and they were trying to look at her as like a younger version of Sharon Tate. But yeah, they mentioned her. So I found that interesting because she kind of looks like her, the main character. So with that, we see, they're arguing about Jocelyn exposing her breasts. Okay. And there is what's called an intimacy coordinator there who's trying to say, no, you can't show the whole breast. You only can show the side. You can't show this. You can't show that. And so while they're arguing about her album cover and what she can and cannot show, a lady comes in and immediately goes to Jocelyn's manager and shows a photo of Jocelyn with love juice. Please use your imagination. She has love juice on her face. Okay. And so she has love juice on her face after she gave a man a blow the whistle. And mind you, Jocelyn actually took the picture. You can tell it's a selfie. So after she gave this man a blow the whistle and his love juices is on her face, she decides to take a selfie and show off with it on her face. So the girl comes into the manager, is like, look at this effed up shit. And so he's like, oh my gosh, what the hell? Why would she take a picture like this? She's famous. Like, what the hell is wrong with her? So instantly, everybody's freaking out. Her best friend is freaking out, and they're blaming the best friend. And they're like, you know who comes in and out of this damn house. How could you let this happen? She's freaking out like, I've seen guys go in there, but I don't have control of what's going on. So they're trying to figure out how they can spin this or what can they do. Because at this point, it is out on social media. So, if one person posts it, within a couple of seconds, thousands of people are posting it. So it's everywhere at this point. So with that, you know, they're pretty much trying to go, they're in machine mode right now. How can we make this disappear? Jocelyn, though, is not aware of any of this stuff going on, even though she's asking her best friend, like, what's going on? Is everything okay? And everyone's trying to keep this from her. Meanwhile, the intimacy coordinator, of course, who's trying to prevent her from showing her breasts, while he's trying to protect Jocelyn, Jocelyn goes to her manager, is like, look, I'm over him, get him out of here. Child, the manager talks to the intimacy coordinator, and the intimacy coordinator is like, look, I'm trying to protect her. And so the manager locks the man in a bathroom to prevent him from stopping Jocelyn from doing what she wants to do. And even gets to the point where he offers a man $5,000 to just hold that bathroom door so he will not let the intimacy coordinator out. Just crazy shit. Just crazy shit. Not just fire him or get him out of here. No, just lock him in the bathroom. So with that, we pretty much see the thing is that the side comments, while they're hilarious, they're also scary at the same time. But this is them showing like the dark side of the industry. So the side comments, for example, one girl is like, I was pretty much having freaky tales in the stairwell or in the staircase at Capitol Records, and one of the guys is like, yeah, because I was the one who was giving you the freaky tales. Just random comments like that where you're just like, what the hell is going on here? So right now, The problem I think that a lot of people are having with the show, or what I see so far, is that we don't really see a lot of conflict. Right now, Jocelyn's major conflict is her internal conflict, it's her conflict inside. And while that can work for maybe an episode, we need to see really more conflict in her internal conflict. So right now, the main conflict is something that she doesn't even know about. A picture being out there, about, her freaky tales moments, and she's not even aware of it. But we do also see that the other internal conflict is that Jocelyn is a very fragile girl. She's clearly unsure about her talents and her fame, which makes her a recipe for disaster and very vulnerable for someone to come in and pretty much try to control her whole situation. She even has a point where when she has her sunglasses on, she's wiping away tears, and people aren't even recognizing that she's this fragile and that she truly is lost at this point, especially without her mother, because we learned in this episode that she lost her mother. And after she lost her mother, she did have a mental breakdown. So, with that, they're worried about 14 and 15-year-olds not buying her concert tickets, which honestly, based on her image and the song that we hear them playing, 14 and 15-year-olds shouldn't be at her damn concert anyways. So with that, they're trying to show whatever story they can pretty much use to put out there, to make sure that, this all goes away. And what we also see is that the way that the machine works in this industry and the way that they protect their artists is that whatever story they want to put out there, they can change the narrative if they want to. It will stick as long as they can focus and get that machine out there and do what it needs to do. So after they talk about how they're going to strategize most of the damn day, they finally tell Jocelyn that the picture is out. And while she kind of tears up, she pretty much says, well, it could be worse. And then she walks away. Next thing you know, she goes into the sauna in her house and she speaks to one of her dancers. And she's like, what club were you talking about? Next thing you know, Jocelyn is out with her dancers slash, I guess, friends or associates. No security, mind you. She's supposed to be this big star, but she's literally like in a drop top driving with them, and there's no protection. She gets to the club. Of course, they're taking pictures. No security for her at the club either. That just shows you that she's very reckless. She doesn't care what people think, and she doesn't care what type of security she has. So again, which makes her a target. So with that, she goes to the club, or she goes in the club, and this is when we get introduced to Tedros, or whatever the hell his name is, who is the club owner, who is played by The Weeknd. But because of his looks, I'm gonna call him a pimp named Slickback, okay? Because he's giving straight pimp vibes, okay? So a pimp named Slipback Tedros sees Jocelyn on the dance floor, and he's giving her all of these props. And the next thing you know, he's dancing with her on the dance floor, and she gets seduced by the pimp named Slickback. And so instantly when she goes into this club and she's introduced to this guy, the cinematography and the vibes of the actual show, it gives a demonic touch to it. Like there's a lot of reds, there's a lot of darkness. And so with that, we clearly see where this world is taking her when she gets introduced to this guy. And so her BFF, which is pretty much the only light that she has in this situation, you can tell she feels so out of place. And based on the guy that's behind her, that's looking at her, something tells me that eventually something's possibly going to happen to Jocelyn's best friend, which is probably going to devastate her even more. But based on what I'm seeing, their whole point was trying to distract her, because to a certain extent, she is Jocelyn's protector. They were trying to distract the best friend, so then that way the pimp named Slickback Tedros could take Jocelyn somewhere, okay? So with that, even though the best friend tries to look for Jocelyn, she can't find her. She ends up dancing with this guy who distracts her on the dance floor. Next thing you know, Jocelyn goes home by herself. Again, no security. And she decides to give herself a helping hand, if you know what I mean. And so with that, I guess because since she couldn't have Freaky Tales at the club because her best friend kind of blocked that, she gives herself a helping hand. But the crazy part is while she's doing that, she is also choking herself. Okay? She's choking herself. So it makes you wonder, like, what in the hell happened in her life? It's almost like pleasure and pain are together for her. Like she doesn't know one without the other. That's the vibes I was getting from that scene, and of course the other scenes as well. So the next day, she has an interview with Vanity Fair, and her mom is mentioned. And of course, she doesn't want to talk about it. But with that, the most interesting part about this scene was the interviewer said, well, who does Jocelyn answer to? Because Jocelyn says everyone has to answer to someone. And so the interviewer said, well, who do you answer to? And Jocelyn says, God. So that tells you there you can't control her. So even if someone gives her sound advice, you can't control her. So I'm like, oh, we definitely know where this is about to go. So Jocelyn, the only time that you see that she really has no problem dropping, down her, like walls, because she definitely has some of her walls up as far as, being defensive or being defiant. But she seems very vulnerable with her BFF, of course. And so she's talking to her BFF, which is her main support system. But at the same time, her best friend comes off like a yes man, like always just being there to cheer her on, but not really tell her the truth about how she moves. But she always tells Jocelyn what Jocelyn wants to hear. Not what she needs to hear, but what she wants to hear. So Jocelyn decides to invite a pimp named Slickback back to her house. And again, the visuals of how they have this guy, it definitely gives the gothic dark vibes. They open up the gate on this man and he has on all black and he just looks like a demon, okay? Then we see that he sniffs some sugar up his nose, if you know what I mean. So that already reads, all of this just says trouble. This guy is trouble, and she is attracted to darkness because he definitely is giving dark vibes. So with that, she definitely, for whatever reason, because again, she's insecure about herself, so that means that she's insecure about her music. She ends up having him listen to her song, and he starts screwing with her mind and pretty much says that, her song, I guess, isn't as successful or as sexy, so to speak, because it sounds like that she don't know how to do good freaky tales, because you can tell when someone knows how to do good freaky tales based off how they sing. Okay, so of course she's already insecure. That comment makes her more insecure, and he starts screwing with her mind and puts her in a trance. And so with that, he ends up taking her robe, tying her belt around the belt around her neck, and almost starts choking her. Okay, and so she gets to the point where she can't really breathe. And she's breathing heavy, and he's like, do you trust me? And she's like, no, but she still allowing him to do this stuff. And when she gets to the point where she's breathing so heavy that it looks like she just is almost out of breath, he takes a knife and opens up a slit from the material around her mouth so she can actually breathe. And then once she's able to calm down because she can breathe again, then he says to her, now you can sing. So at this point, the episode goes off, okay? And so that's when I was like, okay, he's about to be big time trouble for her. She is definitely, because at this point, we don't see that she has a drug problem. We see that she's a chain smoker. We see that she likes to drink. But I don't think I've seen so far that she has an addiction as far as drugs and stuff is concerned. So this show is truly about the dark side of the industry. Again, right now, I would say out of a 10, 10 being the best, one being the worst, I would give this pilot episode like a 5 or 6. And again, it still had me watch. I watched the whole entire thing without stopping. So there's some I'm intrigued a little bit, but the problem is there is no external conflicts right now. It's just her fighting with herself and her insecurities. I hope they're not going to continue this season that way, because that's when it gets really boring. So I can see how people are like, the pilot or the first episode isn't that good because there's not much conflict. But I'm going to continue to watch it to see. I would say this held me more than Euphoria because, like I said, I couldn't finish the whole entire first episode of that show, but I was able to with this show. So, for those who watch it, let me know what you think. Please leave your comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Toodles!